Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bill Cancel, the host of the But Equal BC2 show. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Labor Day, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great day today. Another fantastic guest is coming across my screen today to be on our show. This man is huge on TikTok. Huge. Upwards of about 900,000 followers. Oh, my God. He is truly a great man. I've been following him for quite some time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the CHAZANATOR, Chaz, to the show.
And thank you so much for letting me come on your podcast. I really appreciate it.
No worries, Chaz. Thank you. Chad, when I do my show, I do research. So let's have a little fun. So obviously, I did a lot of research, obviously, from your TikTok and so on and so forth. I kind of know who you are, what you're about. But somebody, I'm not going to mention names, said there was a rumor about you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I wanted to confirm or deny the rumor. So I figured we should just start there. Okay.
Okay.
Somebody told me you can't stand Donald Trump. Is that true?
That is 100% true. I can't wait till it happens. And I think you know what I mean.
No, yeah, that was one of the topics I wanted to bring up too. Where do you think this is all going with the health? I mean, is it real? Is it not real? Is it just because, if you look at what's happening with the Epstein files and all the stuff that's happening this week, the timing of this is it's so typical. I mean, is there a relation to the two? Is something really going on with it? What do you think?
I do feel like everything since Elon disclosed that Trump is in the Epstein files, that was a big turning point. And I think
Right.
that from that point on, pretty much everything I have to question if it isn't just part of the cover up. Because we know that Pam Bondi told him that he is in the files, and we know
Right.
that he knew that when he lied to the media and said that he did not know. So, nothing about him surprises me. It just continues to disgust me more and more every day.
Absolutely. And Chaz, let me answer this too, because this is a question I've been asking a lot of my guests for the past 2 months now. There's a bunch of subpoenas that are out there that's supposed to deliver the Epstein files, right? We know that. And some of the files have already started to come out. Robert Garcia said the other day that the Epstein family has agreed to give him the birthday book, the one that Donald Trump got,
Right, that
went
letter that
crazy.
he
Yeah,
wrote.
exactly. That book's coming next week as well, too. So all of these things could be very incriminating. But just keep that in the back of your head for a second. But we all know Trump. He doesn't follow the law. He breaks up the law. He stops things from happening. So how is he going to square this? Is he just going to deliberately go out and say no subpoenas? Subpoenas are not allowed. You can't see the information. Is he going to silence the victims when they try to speak on September 3rd? How do you see all that playing out? Because I honestly, I'm confused. I can't see him shooting himself in the foot that bigly.
Yeah, every deflection he makes, it turns more of his own base against him
Yeah.
because he made the mistake of running on this, and his JD Vance did podcasts talking about how important it was to release these files,
Right.
and now that there's even more evidence mounting. I think every deflection, every time he tries to stop it, every time he even mentions it, his base is dropping off slowly. And it's sad that it took this,
Right. This thing
to
to
be
do it.
the
Right.
turning point for them. Yeah, that's the
Right.
line in the sand. Going broke, not being able to feed your family, risk losing your health care and, all the other things that he's done with his big, ugly ass bill. But this is it, whereas there are so many fundamentalist Christians who are supporting him who have already been busted for molesting kids. It's a pattern within the party itself and within the white Christian nationalist movement that supports him. And I think people are finally starting to wake up. But I don't know how he can get out of this. I don't see how he's going to worm his way out of this.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
interesting.
this whole health crisis thing,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Do you think this could potentially be one very explosive week for him?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope that the truth comes out and that those letters do come out and we do find more people. We know there's other people on that,
Right. Right.
in the files that were involved. These videos that Pam Bondi claims she has by the truckloads don't just include victims. It also includes perpetrators. And for me, like, and probably my biggest worry is that Dems and Republicans alike are going to just get sick and tired of the fact that our government is covering up so much, refusing to disclose so much, and for so long that it's going to hurt our morale in general, which is exactly what Russia wants.
Exactly, of
And
course, of
China,
course.
all of our enemies would love to see us just, at each other's throats over this.
Yeah,
So the bigger picture is that, it I think takes away from patriotism from the average American citizen when we
right.
find out that our government has not disclosed this information. And the fact that they're taking so long to do it. And
Yeah,
our
exactly,
FBI, like, how do we
exactly,
trust the FBI when
exactly.
we know they've had these files for so
Right.
long? I don't trust Patel
No, 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 no.
any better than he can see straight.
That's
you
right.
know?
That's right. Exactly right. John, let's deviate for a minute. Your TikToks. What I love about your TikToks is that they're very powerful. They're very thought provoking. They always have a strong message. Yeah, you goof around sometimes and you're playful and so, which is you have to. You have to kind of balance it all out and so on and so forth. You're also only about 27, so
About what?
you're only about 27 in age.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah.
Maybe mentally. I'm
No, but
actually going to be
but no, meaning
57.
meaning that you look so young and stuff like that. That
Oh,
how,
thank you.
what was it going back? What was it that got you to this point as far as being a resistor type person? Was there a specific thing you could put your finger on, or have you been this way all your life?
I think I've always been this way, but I was a little bit more severe because I went through years of PTSD, and
Right.
if anybody who's watched my stories, and I assume most people haven't,
Yeah.
but they, growing up the way that I did, my parents were alcoholics, they were religious hypocrites, they were
Right.
very bigoted, and we were poor, and I, got molested when I was 12 by my neighbor's uncle who was 40, and then I ended up getting married to a 32-year-old woman when I was 15. So like all of these things forced me into adulthood very quickly, to the point where by age 16 I was numb to being molested or think, I just assumed that I'm an adult at this point and that everything I do is all on me. And I move forward just trying to find my way in the world. And it did harden me. And a lot of the experiences I had were very traumatic, and especially losing my little brother in 2000. That was like one of the biggest things, and that's a story that I'm getting ready to tell again on TikTok soon because
Okay.
there's like a renewed interest in my stories lately, which is why my channel is growing so rapidly, and that is such a shock to me, I have
Hmm.
to say. But maybe I've gotten better at telling my stories over the years because I've become a little bit more refined as a person. I think getting older has definitely brought me some wisdom and grace that I lacked in the past when I was
Hmm.
going through PTSD.
Hmm.
I was a recluse for 10 years. I stopped working. I didn't leave the house. My husband had to basically take care of me and try to protect me through my own, self-damaging ways. I wasn't eating. I got skinny, so thin. And then, in 2019, things just changed. And like, I feel like I became a better version of myself. I let go of a lot of the bitterness and the jealousy and, things that I had inside of me before that. And I found some love for myself. I'm now giving myself the same grace that I have shown my husband for years and my family, and I think that's a game changer for
Do you,
me.
do you,
And
do you, do you think, Chaz, that that's some of what you're describing, which is very poignant, is missing from our American culture at this point in time at a massive level?
I think it is. I think we could all use a little more self-reflection. I think that, if we can recognize our flaws, but then we can recognize also that we love other flawed people and we give them grace and we accept their flaws, but we don't accept our own, and we don't. And
That's a
then
good
I think
point.
you have to acknowledge your own flaws in order to be able to correct them in yourself.
Where do you think the hate comes from? Because you look at the country now, and I'm an empath. I've always been,
Yeah,
but
that's good.
I don't get the hate. I just don't get it. I don't care who you are. I really don't care. If you want to sleep with seals, I couldn't give a rat's ass. My question is going to be: are you happy? Is the
Right.
seal
Yeah.
happy? That's all I'm going to care about. But I mean, where does it come from? Is it so entrenched in our brain because of this crazy religious dogma that gets thrown down our throats, or this? Is it a racial thing? Where, or is it all of it all together?
I think it is tied together. I feel like especially the hatred that I receive, because I am very outspoken, or I have been very outspoken against Donald Trump and MAGA, and the things that they're doing, the children that are, being, you know,
Deported.
kidnapped off the streets, put in
Right.
concentration camps, basically, possibly trafficked. We don't know where they are. We don't know what's going on. We know that this man has a history of dealing with traffickers, and now there are missing children. So, everything is suspicious, but that my hatred comes from defense, like
Mm-hmm.
self-defense. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
literally, I hate anybody who harms children in any
Right.
way, or innocent people, and veterans, who served our country, and like, did, prove themselves to be true patriots, and then like anybody who disrespects that, I have no love in my heart for those people. I don't care what happens to them as long as it's bad. But when it comes to the hatred that I receive, it is all religious based, and it is a hypocrisy that is just glaring because none of these people could live up to the book of Leviticus that they keep throwing at me, in order to try to bash me for being gay, or I'm actually technically bisexual, but I'm married to a
Right.
man.
Right.
We've been
Right.
together
Right.
33 years.
Right. Point taken. Yeah, it's just I remember growing up, and I've skeeted about this on Blue Sky quite some times, but I never really knew hate about 10 to 12 years ago. 10 to 12 years ago, I could count on two fingers the people that I despised. That was it, literally. Now I don't even know what the number is.
Right. It's like a whole cabinet of
It,
people.
it, it, it's a whole cabinet of people, and it's sad because that's not who we are as a country, and
Yeah.
it's just a never-ending thing. What Here's a pointed question for you: given the current situation with the government and everything else that's happening, what's keeping you up at night? And don't say your garden.
Yeah. Right. Obviously, but what do I have to water next in the morning? First
Yes.
thing in the morning. Yeah, what keeps me up is just the desperation. I get so many messages and comments on social media from people who are struggling financially right now. And I've never seen it this bad. Like the price of beef is sky high. People are just unable to make ends meet, and it's getting worse. And now we see like homeless populations of American citizens, being treated like dirt, and institutionalized and jailed, and I mean, I've never seen it like this before, and so that's what keeps me up. Like I will lay in bed at night, tossing and turning, sometime for 2 or 3 hours before I can get to sleep. Just repeating the messages that I've received in my inbox,
Yeah.
from people who are just desperate. And I mean, I'm not capable of doing much myself. Like I don't even earn that much money, like I
Right.
mean,
Right.
TikTok
Right.
is actually my only income at this point. My
Right.
husband is retired, and I have worked at a gas station for a while, like I'm just a down to earth gas station person,
Mm-hmm.
I keep it real. And so like, and I never expected to have any kind of popularity on social media at all. But the fact that I've gotten here, and I feel like obligated to respond to every comment or, every message. And of course, that's impossible, but I'm really good at getting back to messages. And all I can do is just, try to offer them some hope that this isn't going to last forever, that we have to come out in the largest numbers ever in the midterms, and we have to change this policy. We've got to get rid of him and his policies and everybody who supports him, because if we don't, then we're doomed to
Yeah.
head into a deep recession, possibly depression.
Yeah.
These tariffs are killing us.
Right.
So
So
yeah,
where
that's
do
the
we?
biggest thing.
So given everything you just said about the messages you're receiving and the price of steak and everything, I follow the economy every day now. Um, it's still, some of the experts says, yeah, it's going to happen. Some of the experts say, no, we could skip by it, and so on and so forth. My gut tells me it's going to happen only because Trump is in the White House.
Yeah.
He Because all the people that say it may not happen, will always say, unless these things happen. And it's the unless these things happen that Trump is going to do. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that leads me to think that there's more of a concern for that. But how does he, again, like we just talked before about the Epstein files, he's running out of runway and so on and so forth. He's got no runway left on the economy. I mean, literally every corner of the country. I don't know one state out of the 50 that's sitting there saying, "Yep, my prices are good. I'm glad. Thank you very much." Not one.
Right.
So, but yet he still proclaims every day that the country's on fire. How is that circle going to get squared?
I think when people finally start to feel the impact of his lies, that's going to be a game changer, and it's happening more and more every day. It started with the farmers who said,
Yep, seen
like,
that.
Yeah, I regret my vote because all
Seen
my
that. Yep.
employees are gone, and the roofing companies, and all these other
Construction
independent
companies. Yeah.
contractors. Yeah, so that's definitely changed a lot of hearts and minds. But I think they're going to have to feel it for themselves, like the
Yeah.
FAFO, the fuck around and find out. Once they realize the impact of their vote, and sadly, it's going to harm a lot of us, but it's really going to hit the red states.
Yes, of
It's
course.
going to hit them the hardest, and and so it was on his part. It's a very, very stupid move because it has the potential to completely obliterate his whole party.
Exactly.
When people finally realize that his policies and his big ugly ass bill has just made them impoverished and that they can't even afford the rent on their trailer anymore.
But let me ask a tough question. How does MAGA square the circle? Because you notice that MAGA, well, before the election, we were all warning MAGA this is coming, right? And basically everything to the T that we warned about has happened. Not
Yes.
will happen, has happened, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't really impacted MAGA that much yet. Now it's starting to impact them because of the prices and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
But they're getting concerned because it finally affected them.
Yeah.
They could if Trump came out and said, I'm only tariffing blue states, I'm not tariffing red states, do you think they'd give a shit about us? Right.
Yeah.
So
No.
but now all of a sudden, because it's affecting them, now all of a sudden they have concerns about it. That just infuriates me. But
Yeah. They
I'm
don't care about other people.
no, but I'm
They're
just
not. They have no empathy. You're an
no,
empath. I'm an empath. They are
right.
narcissists
Right.
and
I just,
cultists.
I just, again, if you look at like what you said, the farmers bitching that the votes are bad, the construction companies, the roofing companies, that the economy is killing them and the tariffs are killing them. I can't wait for the day that reality really hits home, when the GOP has to go to the president and say, "You fucked up."
Yeah.
Okay, the country is in ruin. It's not a hot
It's
country.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's coming. I know it is. And, and I mean, and that's, what the hardest part is that so many innocent people are going to suffer as a result of this too. It's not just the people who voted for him, but, like I have, liberals, blue dots in the red states
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
are already suffering. And they're the ones that I really care the most about when they message
Sure.
me and tell me that they're hurting from this. So
I think everybody, I think anybody who's a blue dot in a red state deserves the Congressional Medal of Honor, because
yes,
I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they
I
do it.
don't either.
I'm in New York, and although New York is officially a blue state, it truly is a purple state.
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by MAGA here,
Mm-hmm.
where I live, but I don't know how they do it.
Yeah,
it
same way.
it's
I'm in Southern Illinois, and
okay.
I live in a university town called Carbondale. But completely surrounding us is just all red, districts, and even my state congressman is a MAGA Republican, and he's always on Facebook praising Trump and the big beautiful bill, and I never miss an opportunity to call him a complete ass kisser. I'm like, would you like another crazy straw to keep sucking Trump's ass? And
But
he
that brings
blocked
up,
me before, but then
yeah,
they passed a law where he couldn't be blocking constituents. So like now he's
right,
got to take it,
nice. So that
until
brings up
Trump changes that.
that's right, next week. But that brings up a good point, though. I mean, how much do you mingle, if at all, with that red side of your state? And are you seeing any dissension in MAGA at all in Indiana?
I'm not, but
Are you hearing
I
about
don't
it?
mingle. I just
No, no,
I'm
no,
still
that's
kind of a
fine.
recluse. Like
Okay.
I no longer work with the public, and
Right,
I
right,
don't get out a lot, and I don't meet a lot of people. Like usually I'll like if I'm selling plants through Facebook Marketplace, I'll meet somebody, you know.
right, right.
But for the most part, I don't really keep tabs on it. People out here don't even know I'm on TikTok. It's a very weird thing because like, and I don't try that hard. I don't tag my town in my videos
Right,
or
yeah, of
anything.
course. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy a little bit of anonymity. I get recognized once in a while at the grocery store, you know, by somebody, and so far it's always been nice people, but there's always the possibility that someone's going to come up and hate on me.
Of
So I
course,
don't
of
push
course.
myself out. The gay community definitely has no idea that I exist, you know, out here. I've gone to gay
Wow.
pride in other states. You know, I've been
Right.
invited, you know, to be at you know pride events, but not here. So I'm really not that in tune with it, but I can tell you that we're feeling the effects, even in the state of Illinois, where we have a surplus and we actually help fund the red states with all the tax dollars that our, you know, state brings in. Um, we're still feeling the effects. There are people, unemployment is going up, and people are noticing the crunch at the
Yeah.
gas pump, you know, at the grocery store.
Supermarket. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What What do you think the top three things, if you were president of the United States right now, or scratch that, if you were able to motivate the masses, what do you think the top three things are that they should be doing right now?
Um, I would, first of all, I would be pushing for diversity in government and everywhere else. You know, I don't think diversity should be a bad word. I think it needs to go back to
Yes.
being a very good word
Yes.
because it is diversity that has made our country the wonderful melting pot that it is. And immigration has been a big part of that. And so I definitely believe that we should be monitoring our borders, especially since 9/11. You know, I feel like this is an important thing. We need to know who's coming in and out of our country, especially who's coming in, and what their motives are. But at the same time, I feel like we have to give people a pathway to citizenship. So, like that, you know, and since
Agreed.
immigration is such a big election issue, that's one
Right.
of the first things I would do would be, you know, okay, yes, let's strengthen our border, but electronically, you know, like we
Yeah.
have the
Yeah. Exactly.
technology to
Yeah.
do this
Yeah.
surveillance. Yeah,
Right.
building a big wall and painting it black is just a show, and it's not going to stop anything. You know, because they
What?
could just go to Canada and cross over and walk right in.
Exactly. Exactly. What do you think the voters should be doing? What do you think average Joes like you and me should be doing to get our country back?
I think speaking out like you've been doing, and like our friend Bad Brad
Yeah.
Berkowitz has been doing, you know, like speaking
My
out
brother.
is
By the
crucial.
way,
Yeah.
he was the one who spread the rumor about you. By the
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's a good one. That's
way.
I'll remember that because I could
Yeah.
spread the same rumor about him because he's just been incredibly outspoken, and I
Yes, he
love
has
his
been.
content. I
I
love how
love
he
Brad.
goes after them. TikTok
Yeah.
might not love it so much because he does use a lot of profanity, but
Yeah.
I'm down for that. You know, I
Yeah. Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
we have to fight fire with fire when it comes to that. But
He's
he's
my
not only
brother.
fighting fire with fire, he fights fire with facts, and he brings the receipts
Yeah.
and that's what we need. We need to bring those receipts. We need to, you know, to anybody who'll listen, you know, and occasionally I will get somebody who is former MAGA, you know, message me or comment on one of my videos and tell me like you just completely changed my whole perspective. You know, I've been
Wow.
watching your stuff, you know, for the last few hours
Right.
and like, you know, binge watching my content and they turn around. Like they're, you know, as long as they're presented with facts, they're not all so deep in the cult that they are in denial. Like, you know, you just can't deny the evil things that are going on, like the foster children getting ripped up out
Yeah.
of their foster homes
Yeah.
and deported to
Yeah.
countries they've never been before. Like,
Right. Yeah. That makes no sense.
yeah.
So, my gut tells me, I don't know if you know, I do a show, I do two shows, I do a show on Friday and do a show on Saturday. The Friday show is called The Loser Show. And The Loser Show is documenting the top 10 losses that the Republicans have had for the week, Trump and the Republicans.
Oh,
And
that's
then
good.
and then on Saturday, I do the opposite. I do the winning show, which is top 10 Democratic wins for the week across the country, right?
Uh,
I specifically do the winning show because I understand people can get kind of demotivated on a daily basis with all the doom and gloom, right? Because one day we're up, next day we're down, next day we're up, next day we're down. Just look at what happened this weekend. He's dead, he's not dead, he's dead. I don't know, maybe. So I just try to keep everybody positive and focus into thinking that we are making a difference,
and we
right?
are.
And I'm not saying that. That's not Bill saying it. I mean, the proof is there that we're making a difference. So that's what I
Right.
wanted to ask you. Do you feel that we've been making a difference over the past 8 months?
I definitely do.
Yeah.
Because we've seen progress as far as his numbers. Trump's numbers have gone way down, and he hates that so
Right.
bad.
It does. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so and his health is declining,
Yeah.
which I think is a sign of the stress and anxiety
Yes.
that this position that he's put himself in is
Right. Exactly.
catching up to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I like
So
seeing that. I think we're making progress. I think more and more people are speaking out. We're seeing more marches and we're seeing more people
yes.
online. I think we outnumber them. More than
Oh, we
ever.
do. I
Yeah, so that's a
totally agree.
positive sign. But then again, the left has a tendency to eat each other up sometimes, and well, that's something that's going on right now with this whole exposure in Wired about the left-leaning creators who
Yeah.
were
Yeah. Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
paid.
Right.
Yeah, like that's something, and with the whole Palestine thing, there's so much going on with the left eating each other up. But I
Yeah.
think the majority of us are all on the same page that we're going to vote for whoever the hell the candidate is that is
Right.
running against them, as long as we can vote, as long
Yeah.
as he doesn't persuade the military, and I don't think he will.
Right.
So I'm like you. I mean, while I'm like a lot of your viewers, I definitely have hope.
Yeah. Good. 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 Okay. We're gonna have fun with the last question, my friend. Um, I ask all my guests this question. Some of them answer, some of them don't answer.
Okay.
But it's a fun question, so you make a decision. One word, predictions. What's your predictions for the next 6 to 12 months?
I have been predicting for the last few months that Donald Trump will not make it past 2026 for one of two reasons. One could be that it happens.
Right.
The other could be that his dementia, which is clearly worsening. And that people talked a whole lot more about Biden's mental faculties than they are his, even Democrats. I think more and more people need to acknowledge the fact that this man is on his last leg mentally. And I feel that he keeps tripping himself up and disclosing things like when he talked about, the Jeffrey Epstein stealing his employee who happened to be the Jeffries, the young
Yeah,
lady,
Virginia
Virginia
Jeffrey.
Jeffries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Like that was a trip. That was,
yeah.
and then the way he tripped on the stairs, both of those things are all in the same, which means, it's our signs of advanced dementia. My mom had dementia. And I feel like that's gonna undo him.
Hmm.
And so I think it's just a matter of time. So my prediction is that he will be gone. And I don't feel that, you know, JD Vance is going to take over with any type of power. Like
Right.
he's not well known enough. He hasn't done
No.
anything. And he might have the financial backing of the
The
Christian
tech bros.
nationalists. Yeah, but I feel like he's not going to be as effective because he's not the cult leader. He is
Do
just
you, do,
another
do,
follower.
yeah, there's rumors going around, and Brad shot this down the other day, but um, that if it happens and JD becomes president, that the Senate Republicans and the House Republicans would finally come out and say, yeah, you know what? We're back to being a normal government. Fuck you, Mr. JD. You're not going to do things you want to do. You're going to do things we tell you to do. That's the way it's going to be. Do you have any thought about that?
I feel like I don't think that is going to happen, at least not right away.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, they feel like they owe him so much allegiance that, if it happens, it's almost like he'll be a martyr, for a while,
A little while. Yeah,
until
yeah, yeah.
until they start feeling the effects of his,
Decisions. Yeah.
policies and their constituents just turn on them, and I think that's happening more and more too. A lot of
That's
them
a good
refuse to
point.
even do public town halls because they're scared.
And when they do,
Yeah.
they get railed, which is
So
hysterical.
yeah, they do. So
Chaz,
I don't
thank
feel
you
like
so
it's going to
much.
happen.
Oh, I'm sorry, my friend. Thank you so much. This has been a fantastic pleasure to meet with you.
Well, thank you.
Stay right there. I'll see you back in the green room. And to all the viewers out there, I hope you enjoyed today's show. We will catch up with you again tomorrow morning. Take care, everybody.